Hi there, Bankruptcy and Debt Solution Attorney David Waltzer here. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you're probably wondering, well, why shouldn't everyone file bankruptcy? So, in this little video, I'm going to explain to you when you shouldn't file bankruptcy and what's the harm of a bankruptcy for you. Obviously, you shouldn't file bankruptcy if the cure is worse than the sickness. In other words, if you have $30,000 worth of debt, but you have assets worth more than $30,000 that you would lose in a bankruptcy, it makes no sense to file a bankruptcy. Or if you don't qualify for bankruptcy because your income is too high, even though you'd be very surprised how people with high incomes can qualify for bankruptcy. But some people just don't qualify, or for whom it just doesn't make sense. But even for the people who do qualify for bankruptcy, the thing to consider about a bankruptcy is that, and this to me is the number one downside of a bankruptcy, and this is why we have to be very careful before we file a case for anybody. You can only file a bankruptcy once every 8 years. So if we file your bankruptcy today, and then 4 years from now, you're in debt again, or you've had some large liability, a medical liability, or some other liability, you can't file bankruptcy again until that 8-year window expires. So even though we're great at qualifying people for bankruptcy, we really caution, we watch our clients carefully to make sure that there's not a risk that in the near future they're going to need a bankruptcy. I've had clients that have come to me and they have a small amount of debt and they're about to start a business. And I could get them a bankruptcy and get them out of that debt, but I say, let's wait. Well, maybe you'll be able to catch up on this debt with your new business, because what happens if we file bankruptcy now on $15,000 or $20,000 worth of debt, and then 3 years later your business fails and you have $100,000 worth of debt? You'll be kicking yourself because you used your get out of jail free card on a small amount of debt instead of saving it for a time when it was really essential. And those kind of questions really depend on what you do for a living, what are your goals, what are your plans for the future. But that to me is the number one thing to think about when you file bankruptcy is will I need it again in the near future? And if so, maybe it's best to wait. Thanks.